my jet can see it, I can target it, and that information is many times provided in real time to all the other F-35s flying with me, with limited need from the pilot to push that. And its stealth capabilities are far beyond anything else. As I looked at some of the graphs for how stealthy the airplane was, you know, F-16 relatively stealthy, but when you start hanging bombs and rockets and stuff on it, that stealth capability goes away. But let's see what we can do here. Our pilot's Cricket. Who's his full name? What's his full name? So the pilot for today's demonstration is going to be Major Zachary Cricket Ibarra from Rancho Cucamonga, California. He was originally a AV-8B Harrier pilot who transitioned back in 2020 to fly the F-35. Now, as Cricket goes down to the edge of the runway, you can see now the vertical lift fan is engaged. Took a short takeoff, vertical and STO mode, stall mode. More on the top of the engine, goes up back to
transition to the F-35 Demo before this transition of what brings to the Marine Corps.
The B model, because of the complexity of it, initially the designers thought they'd build the simplest one, the Air Force one first, but they figured if they couldn't make it work for the Marine Corps, it wouldn't work for anybody. And that whole drive system to feed that lift fan system so it can do short takeoff and vertical landings makes it the only possible replacement for the aging AV-8B Harrier 2+.
That's exactly right, Rob. It brings that expeditionary element to the MACTAF, the Marine Corps Air Ground Task Force. Lets us go expeditionary on boats, island side. We can land, take off where no one else can.
And that's the key to why the Marine Corps' Harrier has been so successful, because you can, with a Harrier, you could land where there was no runway, refuel it, rearm it, and get it back into the fight to support the Marines and the soldiers on the ground.
That's exactly right, and that's what we're all about here at the Marine Corps.
Tell me about your transition from the AV-8B Harrier to the F-35, because there are some real advances in that aircraft.
It's definitely a lot easier to fly than the Harrier.
Really?
The Harrier,
Why?
you're working 100% of the time. No computers backing you up. Everything is manual. And it really builds your skills as a pilot. Flying the F-35 for the first time, and it's you've got 3 computers back there running the jet, and you are asking for permission to do stuff.
So you got R2-D2 in the back seat.
That's right.
That's pretty cool. All right, who's flying today? And he's just been given clearance for takeoff.
We've got today Major Matthew Tiny Johnson from Spokane, Washington. And we've had the great pleasure this weekend of flying jets from VMFA 542.
One motor, but it can lift about, what, some 45 or 50,000 pounds of jet into the air pretty quickly.
So right now he'll be taking off at 44,000 pounds of gross weight, and we're going to start off with a trundle stow at about an 89 liftoff.
Which is unheard of. There's small Cessna airplanes take off at about 55 miles per hour, and this will get 80 knots. That's what, 88, 92, 93 miles per hour or so, and lifting it off. This is going to be a lot of noise, but just take a look. Music's going to start. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look as your United States Marine Corps F-35B Lightning II is converting to the short takeoff vertical landing mode, or STOVL mode. The door at the top is the intake for that vertical lift fan. 2 doors below will open up. So the lift fan, which is being powered by that F-35 engine from Pratt & Whitney, and the doors at the back to vector the thrust from the tail end of the thrust. This is the Lightning II. Watch as it approaches. Tiny's going to sharply back to the right and do what is called experiencing about 7 times his normal body weight built by Lockheed Martin, most of which coming off the production line in Fort Worth, Texas. Approaching the speed of sound will be the next pass that we'll see. He will not exceed the speed of sound, but this 5th generation fighter with that Pratt & Whitney engine can get it well in excess of Mach 1. We don't want to exceed the speed of sound because it would knock windows out and who knows what all. Here's from the left, here's the rep, the F-35. Norway, and then other aircraft, other countries have purchased it, like Israel and Japan, the Republic of Korea, Belgium, Poland, Singapore, Finland, Switzerland, Germany, others. But it is refined, and then a lot of it is projected on the visor inside the helmet, right, Cricket?
And that's the biggest step forward from Porsche, or one of the biggest step forwards, where now instead of looking at multiple displays, I'm looking at one display that seamlessly ties all that data together with very minimal input on my behalf.
Now let's watch how quickly he can change direction. This is called the tactical pitch. Everything internally. Watch as it comes by and opens the weapons bay. The helmet that a pilot wears in the F-35 Lightning II is actually I think it costs more than the median cost of a house in the United States.
It's hands down the most expensive thing I've ever worn in my life. 34 alpha, so max performance in the slow speed, high alpha claw.
When we say alpha, that means angle of attack. It's quite simply the number of degrees that the nose is pitched up above the horizon. This is fantastic for a 45,000-pound airplane. A Marine Corps pilot like Tiny, putting nobody at risk. I am blown away by how amazing this airplane and these airplanes are as he rolls it on its back for an inverted pass. And so similar to these airplanes. The ability of the Navy version to land on a carrier, it's That's the intake for the vertical lift fan system. And the doors on the bottom will open up for the exhaust for the lift fan system, and then 2 doors at the back so that the rotatable nozzle can be used as well. So it's pretty much a 1-to-1 thrust-to-weight ratio. So if it's running a little lighter than 45,000 pounds, it could accelerate going straight up, right? Ballistic, maybe?
They've got a nice full day like that.
Now he's coming through slowly. What's going to happen now, Greg? He's going to be, well, what we'll see is the ability of this aircraft to hover.
So from right to left, we've got Tiny. He's in Stowe, so mode 4. All doors open here now. Right now he's about to execute his DCG about 1.6, 1.7.
began to teach myself aerobatics from a book. This was really a stupid approach, and I was lucky to not have an accident. Somehow I survived. Later in my 16th year, I packed up my belongings into my airplane and not ran away from home. I flew away from home. I stumbled onto an air show, his very first, at the